Hello everyone. Now I will talk about the sentiment analysis of Portuguese political parties communication by Carlos Costa, Manuel Aparício and João Tiago Aparício from Universidade de Lisboa, Universidade Nova de Lisboa, a paper presented at ACM SIGDOC Conference. The research objectives of this paper are to understand the communication on Twitter of the political parties and understand the sentiment of their communication, identifying their communication performance regarding the daily number of tweets, favorite tweets, number of retweets per day, and per political party, the sentiment analysis by political party using their tweets, and to propose an explanatory model with the main drivers of retweets. To conduct this study, our approach used data analysis and machine learning techniques and methods. Results indicate the main determinants that influence future retweets of political posts globally. Here, we present a comparison of communicating content between tweets posts and the political parties program available on their institutional websites. We identify the similarities between tweets and the formal programs per party and among all parties. This study contributes to analyze the coherence and the effectiveness of the political parties' communication.
From the campus of ISEG, the Business School of the University of Lisbon, we may see the Portuguese Parliament. It is the house of democracy. Those are the political parties represented in Portuguese Parliament. For our analysis, we decided to remove one party, the LIVRE, because the member of the Parliament that belong to this party, it is not anymore related to it. Instead of using CDU, we use just one political party that belongs to this coalition, that it is Partido Comunista Português. In fact, the oldest political party in Portugal.
About the political parties in social media performance, we can see that BE has the highest number of tweets per day. However, Liberals have the most impact, either in number of retweets and favorites. Hence, quantity is not always quality of communication. Nevertheless, there seems to be less communication in CDS and PAN. PS and PSD seems to have more communication, but it doesn't have much traction as other parties like Chega. On the positive sentiment results, positive communication seems to be more prevalent in the right-wing parties, with less positive being BE and PCP. However, these two are the most consistent in the low positiveness of communication since they have the least standard deviation. The negative sentiment expressed by the political communication seems to be higher in the left-wing parties, excluding PS and the right parties. Center parties have a less negative communication. Extreme left and extreme right wings have a more negative sentiment. It is important to note that PS is the ruling party at the time. In terms of standard deviation, Chega is leading the chart. This means the messages from this party can be either not negative to very negative, expressing a high variability.
In this regression, we analyze what may explain the retweet of a specific tweet. We found that if the sentiment of the message is more negative, it contributes to be retweeted. The number of hashtags and mentions also contribute positively. And if there are more favorites, the number of retweets also increase. There is a negative relationship between retweet length and the number of retweets. We compared several algorithms. Here we show the predicting power of each one of the approaches. On the right side of the slide, we may see that OLS is the approach that has the better predicting power, but there are not large differences between the approaches.
Results on the analysis of the similarities between social media communication and the political program communication. To understand the cohesion of parties' communication and the political agenda, we made a document-wise comparison with each agenda and the set of tweets each party has. Evidently, we can see that the tweets have a high similarity within themselves, since parties tend to communicate about similar topics. The Liberals tend to have the most different agenda from the others. They are also the ones that have a communication close to the agendas. However, BE and PCP have the tweets communication and the agenda with the closest topics. Chega, PS, PSD and CDS have the least similarity between communication and the agenda. Interestingly, PS, PSD and CDS have 75% similarity between their agendas, and Chega has a slightly more similar agenda to PCP than PS. In conclusions, the analysis of political parties' communication expressed explicitly by the official Twitter accounts allow us to verify some differences as expected. BE is the party that has more tweets, while CDS is the party with the smaller number of tweets. On one hand, some strategic approaches may be evident. For example, the party that supports the government has a more positive sentiment. It is also essential to identify that favorites, negative sentiments and hashtags are significant to explain a retweet, while positive and neutral sentiments are not significant. Similarities of the programs between some political parties of a very different ideological matrix are interesting to verify. This should be the subject to future research. On the other hand, our approach is also relevant as long as it contributes with an innovative way to analyze tweets. Thank you for your attention, and for more details, please read our paper available at the Digital Library of ACM.